Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for coming. This is our 5th annual Pocasset Water Quality Meeting. We actually have had our 5th anniversary of incorporation in December, and the Board of Directors all had a great dinner together. We went out Dutch Treat and had a wonderful time. It's amazing how people that none of us knew each other 5 years ago, and now we're all good buddies. So we have some, let's see, how many, we have Board of Select Board here this morning. I know I've seen Jean, MJ, Anne Marie is a speaker, but I don't know where she is. She's way over, she's bashful, way over in the back. Who else did I see here? All right, so there's 3 Select Board people. That's great. Thank you so much for coming. So I want to just introduce the Board of Directors. So let's see if I can find them all. So we have Chris waving, Bill sitting in the shade, Patty and Jerry are selling T-shirts and hats. So don't forget to get a hat. T-shirts are on sale. So there aren't a lot of sizes, but you know, you can use it for a nightshirt. So who did I miss? I missed Deanna in the back, right here. And I left Frank till the end, because I just want everybody to know. So Frank is the reason that we're all here doing this. In 2019, Frank got a meeting with the Select Board, and then we started canvassing the neighborhood to get everybody to join. We ended up going to a Select Board meeting and brought like 100 and something people, which certainly changed that whole meeting. And from there on, we just keep making progress. So, Frank, well done, young fella. Okay, so let's see, who else am I supposed to introduce? I just wanted to review a little bit. So we're so excited. Congressman Keating is coming this morning. And but just to review, so we've had some really excellent speakers, and we're very proud to be able to put this program together every year. First year we had Z. Crocker, anybody who loves water on the Cape knows Z. Crocker. Sarah Molyneux, who was is chairman of the Board of Directors of Conservation Law Foundation. We had Andrew Gottlieb, who is probably the best source of information any of us know. And last year we had Brian Baumgartel, who is the Director of Health for Barnstable County, and he runs the testing center. So that's pretty exciting. Let's see, we want to make sure we thank Martha Hofer. I don't think I introduced Martha as a board member.
Hello.
Here's Martha. Martha, also, we thank you for letting us use your building. So that's a great thing.
Not my building.
Okay, so then we have all the people who have done work throughout the year. We have Mike Karen, who is standing in the back, another bashful guy. He is our computer guy, and most of you have no idea how many times I have to ask Mike a question. It's crazy. So then we have all the people who have let someone park in their yard this morning. Let's see, we have the Doucettes just down the road here, the Sertas, and Herthers, who have all donated parking. So I just want to single out one person before. So I don't know if anyone noticed there was a big national, worldwide meeting in Switzerland this past week. It's about the plastic that's in the oceans. Like 2 trillion pieces of plastic are in the ocean. Thanks, Tony. 2 minutes. I know. So we don't have plastic around here lying on the ground. If you walk around, you don't see any pollution. And it happens in the winter and in the spring. Where is Bonnie? Right there. Can you stand up for a second, Bonnie? So if you haven't seen Bonnie at work, she walks around we've seen her from the Little League field all the way to the railroad bridge, picking up stuff and putting it in trash bags. And thank you, Bonnie. Well done. Okay, so it's time to get to the program, except I just want to also mention my wife Jan is in the front row, sometimes walking around with her camera. She said to me recently, I thought you were retired. So I want to thank her for massive patience. All right, so Tim Lydon is going to be first up on the list. So Tim is in the town engineering office, and he, along with Dan Barnett, and and Simone Wright. Hi, Simone. Simone is the source of the money for the Tim's project. So Tim is going to tell us about our new storm drains coming in September.
Thank you very much. Yes, I thought it was important to put that in front of you. All right, thank you, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tim Lydon from the town engineering department. I worked with the town for about 10 years. I know you guys are always wondering what's the government doing for me, and I just want to let you guys know it's pretty inspiring to see the people I work for in a situation like this. I sincerely mean that. So a few years ago, we started really getting into stormwater even more than we had been due to the requirements with MS4. MS4 is a program that kind of stemmed off the Clean Water Act. The EPA kind of put the onus on the towns to start looking at what are we putting in the water. We own these huge drainage systems all throughout the municipalities, all throughout the country, and a lot of towns really don't know what's going into the water. So that being said, you start doing an analysis of what your interconnections are and things like that, and one neighborhood really stood out as soon as we started realizing where the catch basins were and where they weren't. So the entire neighborhood of the entire Heights does not have one catch basin up gradient. So a few programs that had come before us kind of outlined this specific area as a huge touch point to say, hey, if you get some infiltration here, you're going to solve a lot of problems. So the fact that there's no infrastructure here, anything was going to be an improvement. Flash forward to about 5 years ago, NRCS teams kind of floating around. The Cape Cod Conservation District, and you'll hear a lot of acronyms, CCCD, was a really, really good program that was began by the Barnstable County government to oversee stormwater projects, basically from the USDA, the Department of Agriculture. Cape Cod doesn't have a lot of farms, on Cape, but what we do have is shellfish. So the agriculture team was able to fund stormwater projects going back to, I think, maybe 2005, Cape Cod Water Resources Plan, probably butchering that acronym, kind of outlined all the different areas that they wanted to work at. So I come into the town about 10 years ago, 7, 8 years, 7, 8 years ago now, we realized that this would have been the biggest project for us. Dan Barnett and Simone come along with a big pocket of money, and right off the bat, they're like, this is a really good project for us. So we have 8 installments coming, and I apologize, it's really not, a project that we can go and look for stylistic components and feedback. It's more or less, a straightforward drainage project. So the infiltration we're going to capture the first inch of runoff. For those of you that aren't familiar with stormwater, if you can capture the first inch of runoff, a lot of the suspended solids, a lot of the pollutants, they get captured in those catch basins. And a lot of the water that now comes out will be diluted and a little bit less polluted. So we have 3 installments on Circuit Ave coming down gradient. We have 3 installments down on Saco Ave, and then we have 1 on the corner of Park Street and Circuit, and then 1 up by Wamsutta. A lot of you may be concerned with traffic. There's going to be a way to get everywhere during each of these projects. We had bids come in last week. We're still sorting through who we're going to select as the firm to do the construction. But that's going to begin sometime in September, and we will make sure that you guys are able to get to your driveways. So whatever it's a discussion with the construction team to see what they can get done in different areas. So we're going to kind of wait to see how the kickoff meeting goes with the plans. But the one little spur that we will worry about, we'll send out some notices next week, is for Wamsutta. Wamsutta might have a little disruption to getting into those 60 through 70 Wamsutta Ave properties, but we'll come up with a plan for parking and making sure you guys have access. And it's a very limited amount of time that it'll be closed. But I just want to thank Dan Barnett. He's an engineer over at NRCS. He worked with us on this project. He did the design for this, which was really helpful for us because typically when they contract, we'll find another firm to do the design and all that. It just made it so much easier, root to fruit, get this project done. He designed it, and then segue into the great work that you guys are doing. The rain gardens were designed by the same engineer. So we kind of had the idea that the runoff that was coming through the whole neighborhood, we were able to capture it up gradient, and now you guys are capturing it at Circuit Ave. So together with the two projects, it's really a huge success. I hope you guys can really get through the construction. It's not going to be too much of a disruption, because I think it's going to be a really good get for us. And then I want to say thank you to Simone Wright. Simone's done a really good job being patient with the town. I mean, it's a relationship, It's working with the federal agencies, the county agencies, NRCS being their branch, and then working locally with what our needs are. And it's been really helpful, not just for the money, but for the team to bring a project that's this big together. It's estimated to cost about $750,000. And it's a match, 75% with the federal government, 25% with us. We had our match about 2 years ago. We voted for that at annual town meeting. So if there are any issues, please reach out to my office. I have some cards in the car. I'll bring them back when I'm done speaking. I have this poster to show you where the sites are. And I have a couple examples of the 2 sheets of the focus areas of what the drainage project's going to be. So, not a lot of humor out of me today, not a lot of sparkle and color, but I will say I am proud of this project. I'm really proud to be in front of all you guys today, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So the fact that this works together with our rain gardens, the head of Hen Cove has been closed to shell fishing for anybody's best guess 40 years, like from Wabash across to Hill Street, an imaginary line inside of that, and anybody who you ask tells us that's caused by stormwater runoff. So we need to get our septic straight. We need to stop putting fertilizer down, but we need to stop the stormwater runoff also. And those are the 3 parts of this project. So Tim, anyone has a question for Tim? Gene?
So, more like a question, timing, and also I believe these are all up on the town website as well.
I don't know if I have the plans up. I might have had the front cover page, but I'll upload all the plans onto my site.
I think that map.
Is it? Yeah, it might be. No guarantees, but I'll get it up there if it's not.
Thank you.
In the timing?
The timing, so we're going to select the contractor this upcoming week. We'll go through insurance and contracts and sign all that. I'm hoping to get them out here to mobilize after Labor Day, but realistically probably the week after that. The deadline to spend our money from the federal government, is December 31st. That's kind of a closeout date no matter what, but I hope to be done the second week of December. But like I said, they could probably do 2 sites at a time. No guarantees on that. I'm going to try to work with the contractor, see what the schedule is, but we have to be able to get where we need to get all around the neighborhood too.
Go ahead, back.
Looking at time frame, same question.
Okay.
Thank you.
On the right, on my right?
Yeah, hi, I'm David Campbell at 425 Circuit Ave. Right around the corner here, there's either a catch basin or a runoff, and we have a gigantic puddle every time it rains.
Right.
Is that part of this system? Is that going to be upgraded, or is anything going to happen with that so that we don't need a boat to get through there?
Right. So Circuit Ave is on our list of projects. I call it the horizontal portion of Circuit Ave. That is not part of this project.
Okay.
We do know it is a need. I want to say this entire horizontal portion of Circuit Ave needs to be upgraded in several sections. The drainage right now, and that's the other part of it. 100 years ago when we were building roads, the goal was to just get water off the road. Just get it off the road. We didn't realize that we needed to treat this stuff. So we have outfalls at all these different locations. But also, when you're down close to the water, it's got to go somewhere. You can't get it into the ground. So those take a little bit more planning, a little bit more foresight, but also there's more upgrades, and I don't even want to mention, sidewalk upgrades or, the berm upgrades, and maybe bringing some elevation up on some of the portion of the road. That's something we've looked at in the past. So I think when we get back to looking at elevating the road, drainage is the best byproduct of elevating the road, because you have a little bit more storage area, more space to work with for the drainage. So it is something that's, in our plans and in our discussions, but it's a little bit more of a bigger project. So this is what we're tackling first, and I think this will be a really good first step to a first phase of upgrades. But yeah, we can definitely continue to look at Circuit Ave and hopefully get there soon.
So can I say that particular spot is on the radar?
It's on the radar, yeah. The whole road from the island all the way over is on the radar.
Thank you.
Yes.
On these drains, when they get clogged, whose responsibility is it to maintain these?
So these are town roads, and it is the DPW. We have a vac truck, and we've had portions of time where that thing's been broken down from time to time, but we have a clamshell, so we'll come back with a backup. Clamshell doesn't work as quickly and as efficient as the vac truck, as you can imagine. But it's really nice that we have a vacuum truck in-house. They go all over the town, specific times of the year. If you guys do notice that there's backups, or you do notice that there's silt going in there, the goal is to not let dirt and sand get into these catch basins, because if they're filling up fast, that means there's a source. And we need to identify what the source is for that sand, and we need to kind of stop the sand from getting in there. So if you guys are noticing that these are filling up, it's not, uncommon to call the DPW and let them know, hey, the catch basin in front of, 86 Circuit is filling up. So feel free to reach out to the boys over there, the folks over there.
Questions? Awesome.
Mike.
Oh, one more.
In front of 76th Circuit, there's a catch basin there which goes under the road and exits onto the beach. And right now, I believe it's covered with sand. But typically, when it rains, the sand will wash away, and the edge of that catch basin, which I hope is somehow on your radar and maybe a plan to fix in the future, but the edge of it is all jagged. And I'm just fearful that somebody is going to cut themselves very badly on that catch basin. So I don't know if there's anything that can be done right away to put something down there that won't.
No, I'll mention that to DPW. That's an antiquated material to
Yeah.
put metal out there. I mean, that's not what we would put out there today. But like I
Right.
said, getting the water off the road is it's really difficult when you're this close to groundwater as well as the ocean. But we'll see if we can maybe soften that and fix that in the meantime.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
That's a good point.
Thank you, Kathy.
And then real quick, the one point I wanted to make, it's not a road improvement project. So there will be patches of pavement, but this is going to move it up on the pavement management program. So the roads that we're going to tear apart, we're going to patch them as best we can. We're going to identify if the patches don't hold up over the next year or two. We'll come back and fix that, so you can let us know what's working, what's not. I'm going to continue to be out here. But like I said, there's really not any road improvements. So I know, you guys think, well, why can't we just put this here? It all adds up, and it is scope creep. So we have to limit what we're doing right now to the drainage project, but we'll be looking to come back in the future to repave the roads as well.
All set? Everybody all set? One more.
It's off,
Last one.
it's off topic, Tim, but who's responsible for cleaning out the culverts?
The culverts?
Right here and further down Circuit?
DPW.
A DPW would. I
Okay.
mean, that's in their wheelhouse, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need a special permits for that, yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Tim, thank you very much, Tim. Well done. Okay, so we're just going to briefly talk about the rain gardens. Where Paula is going to come up and just say a few words. So we want to thank everybody who helped. And the rain garden, if you haven't walked by it, it's fantastic. We have watering. Kevin, where is Kevin Doucette? He's not here today? Yeah, Kevin's back there. Kevin has been our watering wizard. We have not had to do it. He does it every day or every other day when it's needed. Way to go, Kevin. So just quickly, the next rain garden, tentatively scheduled for 16, 17, 18 of September. That's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And that will be much smaller and more simple, I think. Can I say that, Dan?
Sorry,
The next rain garden will be smaller and simple, more simple.
smaller, Rain Garden 2 still has a couple of drain-up years, but the third one is just a rain garden.
Dan, can you come over here for a second? Can you go? Okay, so as far as, like I said, Rain Garden 2, so Rain Garden 3 will be in October, and it's going to be past the beach. So there's a grassy area there with a bench. So the bench will get moved to higher ground in the same area, and the rain garden will be pretty much where the bench is. It'd be much smaller because there's not as much water that comes down and cuts across the road there. So we're pretty excited about that. Like Tim said, our money also expires at the end of December, so we need to get this done. So that's why we've kind of forced the last two into this fall instead of going to next spring. We didn't want to ask for an extension to our grant based on the current administration, so we decided to do it quickly. Dan, can you come up here for a second? Where is he? Come on, Dan, you have to come up. So Dan Barnett, as you heard, is like Mr. Hen Cove. He has helped the town with what they're doing. He's helped us immensely with what we're doing. The hours that he puts in, I don't even want to say it. He's just a wonderful, generous, thoughtful man. And the board of directors would like to give Dan a little gift to thank him for all that he's done. It's not much, but it's something, and we hope you and Michelle will enjoy that gift.
Thank you.
Dan, I would tear up if I started talking about Dan. He's just a tremendous guy. So, Paula, you want to talk for a couple of seconds here? You have
Yes,
to come over here.
just for a couple
You
of
gotta hold
seconds.
it up like you told me.
Rain garden number one was a learning curve for all of us. Yeah, it was a little bit bigger than we thought it was going to be, and it took longer. We have a better handle on rain garden number two, which is just up the street. But we need volunteers. The first group of volunteers for rain garden one were amazing. I mean, people came out, some people for 4 days in a row. We thought it would be 2, it was 4. We think this will be 2 or 3. The third one will be even less time, but we need volunteers. And I'm going to go around with slips of paper and pencils. If you would like to volunteer for Rain Garden 2, might as well give volunteers for Rain Garden 3 at the same time. I'll put you on a list, and when we have the dates and the times and more information, we'll send it out by email to you. Please take my information down too. If you were already a volunteer, you have my information, so we'll just keep going with that. And as I walk around the group, just raise your hand and I'll get your names. We need people that like to prep the site, which is a lot of shoveling and moving dirt, and then we need planters. We just don't know how many right now. So let me know if you want to be a help.
One person we need to thank is Paul. Paul is our volunteer coordinator. Unbelievable job. That's why everybody showed up. So our next speaker is our special guest. We thank Congressman Keating for accepting our invitation. And so we tie it all together. So the money for the rain gardens came from an organization called SNEP, which is the Southeastern New England Program, founded by Congressman Keating and Senator Reed from Rhode Island. So that funding, we have to apply for a grant, there's a process, and it gets screened, and it's such a great organization, and we thank our congressman for getting it going, and now he's going to say a few words.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. There's over 100 people here, which is pretty extraordinary. And most of you have your parking passes, so you're not going to get a ticket. But we have our parking pass, so we're safe too. Because I'm a neighbor and a frequent pedestrian around Pocasset area, and my wife and I walk our dogs, we walk ourselves, and we enjoy this area. We live up off of Shore Road and Briarwood. But what we're celebrating here and the work of the Pocasset Water Quality Coalition has been terrific. And it's good to see these things come home. Years before I was in Congress, I was very concerned about the nitrogen input and how it affects our waterways, both the ponds, lakes, and our coastal areas, and how we have to take a holistic approach to be able to deal with the issue, because the expense of it and the ability to really counter this is difficult. So back then, I put in, and I got all kinds of federal lobbyists against me, but I put in legislation to limit the amount in our detergents that we use so that that ingredient isn't seeping in and creating more algae and more growth. That was successful. We did get that passed. But when I was in Congress, I really wanted to deal with the ability of local people and being able to leverage what people can do at the community level. And here in Bourne, with some great leadership, we've embraced a lot of this. And Bourne, as a matter of fact, I think you all know this, but in the entire Cape Cod area, the greatest length of coastal area is Bourne, of all the communities. So we have a lot at stake, right, Mitch? Right, MJ? So we're working with the localities and with local groups. And you have the 501c3 group that's been formed here. The work you're doing here is important. And the whole idea between Senator Reid and myself in establishing the Southeastern New England program was to leverage that. Because federal grants are up here. There's a lot of money. They're hard to administrate. They're hard to get. And then when you get them, there's so many requirements, it can get so burdensome. But our idea was take this at the local level where people are already working or want to work to improve their own local areas. And it's twofold. Number one is the grants. The other is the education. And the town of Bourne has signed on to deal with that educational initiative itself as a town-wide approach. But it was really good to see the area where, we live here year-round, and even in the winter we're walking around, where we spend so much time, take advantage of this. And to see the rain garden in June be completed, see the other stage going forward, really it's a lot of work, but it's really the smartest way to deal with it. So I just came here to thank all of you, because it's one thing to get some money. It's another thing to see it actually be employed and initiated in the right way. And you're doing it here. And to live around this area, it's one of the greatest secrets, we'd like to say, in the Upper Cape. So that it needs a lot of attention and protection. But if we work together, we can be successful in doing it. So all of you that have volunteered your time, the people that had the foresight, the community leaders, and our select board and engineers, all of them that have worked together on this, it's the beginning. It is a little tough to get anything that has the word environmental in it as a grant these days. They actually have taken AI and gone through all the pending grants, believe it or not. And if it's got the word environmental in it, they pull that out to try and see if they can stop it or delay it. And it's very short-sighted, but it's something that I think will pass. In the interim, these kind of programs really will be helpful. So thank you all for being such good community leaders here, being great stewards of a beautiful area that's been left to us to protect. And I'll see you walking around with our two little dogs. So thanks.
All right. Thank you so much for coming. This one's for Sam. I can see him over there on the left.
You can see there's two winning hats we'll have to
Yeah.
We have the Braves, and then we'll have this too. Thank you.
So if you haven't paid attention, the Bourne Braves won the Cape League Championship
Again.
They've been to the championship 5 years in a row, so we won 3 out of 5. That's pretty darn good. So I hope some of you are up there supporting those guys also.
Great. Thank you so much.
Congressman, thank you so much for coming. Sam, thanks for all your help. Okay, so now we're going to talk about more environmental. So we have a kind of a bug in our ear in the Pocasset Water Quality Coalition about fertilizer. We've been talking about it for a couple of years now. We had conservation law people here talking about it. And so the number one problem in the water, in our salt water, is poop, peep, septic. Number 2 is fertilizer. So, I don't know, a lot of people want to have a great lawn. It's possible to have a great lawn and be on the Cape. So Deanna Carduz is the secretary of our organization, and she is very passionate about fertilizer.
I am because I was an abuser. So I moved to the Cape in 2013, just part-time, and then in 2019, I became a permanent resident, and that's when I grew my beautiful turf lawn, and my neighbors probably remember that, and I used the 4 steps religiously, and I was so proud of it. And all my company came and told me what a beautiful lawn I had, and then I became aware. The longer you live here, the more you become aware. So we essentially live on a sandbar with some clay, so very porous, sandy soil. So this out here is Red Brook Harbor, and it includes Cedar Point, which is over there. Look at Frank. Hen Cove, Barlow's Landing, Pocasset, and then the inside of Scraggy Neck and the inside of Wings Neck are all part of it as well. So Spruce and Cedar over at Cedar Point are both huge hills leading to the salt water, as are Circuit, Saco, and Park, which all ties into what Tim was speaking about for the town of Bourne and the storm drains. It all ties in together. So the lawn fertilizer, it seeps into our porous sandy soil, and then when it gets down there, it just washes right down here where we swim. The clay doesn't absorb like sand or loam. Instead, it just even more quickly washes it down into the salt water. Anything on your walkway, forget about it. It just washes directly down, which again ties into the storm drain project. 12 to 20% of nitrogen pollution in the salt water is from our lawn fertilizer. Nitrogen fertilizes and promotes growth of non-saltwater plants, and then it removes oxygen from the water, which starves the saltwater plants and the shellfish. Pesticides harm our water as well. The hot summer sun, it's so high in the sky, and it just promotes their growth even more. And that's one of the reasons why the water gets cloudy and the bottom gets yucky and mucky, which we all hate. When the summer is over, have any of you ever noticed the water gets a little bit better? It gets a little bit clearer. Much of that's because we stop fertilizing, the days get shorter, it gets colder, the water gets colder, less daylight, the plants die. It's good, except they decay and they land on the bottom of the harbor, which then creates, more muck. So this cycle just continues to repeat itself. Even watering your lawn and irrigation systems, and I know you want to give it a little spritz. If you got to, just do it before 9 o'clock in the morning or after 5 o'clock at night, because if you do it in the middle of the day, it just evaporates. It's a waste of time and a waste of water. A true Cape Cod lawn doesn't really require a lot of water. It kind of dies and goes dormant. It doesn't really grow. You don't have to really mow. So think about if you have a gas mower and emissions, you're even saving there as well. So we have to here, this neighborhood, recognize our unique harbor. We have Wings Neck, Scraggy Neck, Bassett's Island, Pocasset Island. They're all kind of barriers, which is why we don't have strong tides and big giant waves like the other coastlines do. That's one of the reasons, as Keith mentioned, without having all this flush and waves, the end of Hen Cove is close to shellfishing over by the beach and has been. We have to remember that the Cape is sought after for its coastline, its villages, and its beautiful beaches. And we differ from the suburbs inland with showplace turf lawns. Most people leave there, the places in the suburbs with the turf lawns, to come here where they can relax. Here in Pocasset, we do have countryside and we have farms. So please consider alternatives for fertilizer. There's products like fish byproducts. Paula Serta, Steve Serta live at 5 Park. They've been using that for quite some time. Their lawn's looking pretty good. I know their sprinklers do go off, but I see them at 6 a.m. when I'm running, not at 10 or 12 noon. Another great example of a good Cape Cod lawn is Mike and Mary Ann McGarrigle. I don't know if they're here, but they live at 968 Shore Road, and they do not fertilize at all, so you can see what their lawn looks like. Talk about these amongst yourselves, solutions that you've found. Talk to your neighbors. Ask them. Okay. Organic matter matters, and let's share ideas with each other about what has worked. Would you rather have a beautiful lawn or a swimmable beach? Your property value is not in your lawn. It's because you live here by the water. Thank you.
Well done, Deanna. So just to emphasize, you can use fish poop to be direct fertilizer, which is available at several of the garden shops around here. I know we're not supposed to promote private business, but we know there's a garden shop on Sandwich Road in Falmouth that has fish poop fertilizer. And it works. What it does, it's a soil enhancement. It's not a fertilizer. So it takes 2 or 3 years for the soil to be properly enhanced by the fish poop. So it works, and it doesn't hurt the water. Thanks, Deanna. Okay, so where am I now? Okay, here I am. So Pat Ross is here somewhere. Here he comes. So Pat and Jenny, his wife, own the Katomet Fish Market, and they are also the original born oyster farmers. So we love our oysters. As you can see, most of them are back over by the spit, and that is the process. So they'll be probably distributed. I think it's next year when we start throwing them out so we can harvest them. But Pat has so much more information about oysters, so we're going to turn it over to Pat Ross.
All right. Thank you, Keith. I'm not a huge fan of public speaking.
You got to hold it right.
But when Keith invited me to this event, he let me know that my mother and my wife had already volunteered me to speak, so it wasn't really a way out, to be honest. So, my name's Patrick Ross. I have an oyster farm here in town called Monk's Cove Oysters. I'll tell a little bit of a story about how we reestablished oyster farming in town here, and then I'll talk a little bit about the water quality benefits of filter feeders. So, in a former life, my past career, I was in government affairs and public policy, and so my job took me to Washington fairly often, and I was at a establishment down there across the street from the White House, which I'm sure the congressman's been to many times, called the Old Ebbitt Grill. It's sort of an old school DC restaurant that has an oyster bar. And I'm looking at the menu, and I live in Grey Gables, and I just remember seeing Peters Point oysters from Onset, Mass. And I thought, I can see that from when I walk my dog at the end of the street. And so I just sort of became curious about why there were no farms in Bourne. And started to work with former DNR director Tim Mullen, and just tried to establish a regulation. It turned out there had been oyster farms, in particular in one of the spots where we farm now, around Hog Island and around Mashney Island at the turn of the last century. And those were all eliminated when the canal was built. So oyster farming had been dormant here. Everybody knows about Wellfleet and Barnstable and Cotuit, all these other towns. So working with Tim and the select board, we developed a regulation, developed an application process, and in 2012, I want to say, we were approved for the first oyster farm in many years, just next to, just at sort of the entrance to Finney's Harbor. Since then, we've established a spot near the congressman's house, which he kayaks by frequently, which is an interesting experience. So inside Little Bay, we have a couple of acres. Outside of Little Bay, a couple of acres, and then an acre by the entrance to the canal, sort of by Mass Maritime, in the location where oyster farms were, 120 years ago. So oysters are an important sort of cornerstone to a healthy marine ecosystem. The power of the oyster is that they're a filter feeder. An adult oyster can filter between 30 and 50 gallons of water a day, meaning our farm is filtering roughly 15 million gallons of water a day.
Over here.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Filtering 15 million gallons. So oysters are filter feeders. They filter 30 to 50 gallons of water a day. We have about 300,000 animals on the farm, meaning they can filter about 15 million gallons a day. They're removing nitrogen from the poop that Keith mentioned. They're removing phosphorus from fertilizers, and just generally clearing the water. And why that's important is for many reasons, but to allow the light to penetrate down to the bottom, to allow eelgrass to thrive. In the eelgrass, it becomes a habitat for fish, increases oxygen levels in the water, and just improves the overall health of the water. And so, and uniquely to oyster farming, the cages that we use acts as erosion barriers. They act similar to eelgrass in providing habitat for fish to spawn and increase oxygen levels in the water. So I have a lot of sort of technical stuff that I could certainly put together for Keith to circulate to the group, because I don't have any slides or anything to go off of here. So thank you all for your time. If there's any questions.
Okay, so we're going to disrupt the schedule a little bit here. So part of our grant was we were given the option to do a bunch of things to encourage people to manage stormwater and do a better job. So in the grant, we have money to buy 3 rain barrels. So a rain barrel, you put in your yard, you put it under a downspout, and then you can use the water to water your plants, and you just stop the water from being, go back into wherever it came from. Well, we only have 2 now. Anyway, so we're going to do the lottery for that now instead of at the end, because Congressman Keating has to leave, and we want him to pull the numbers because he's really the source of these rain barrels. So they do work. Jan and I have 2 of them at our house, and I know I've seen them around the neighborhood. Jan uses them to water the garden and water the plants, and even with all the drought, our rain barrels still have water in them. So it's good. You don't have to do it in the wrong, use it the wrong way. So Congressman Keating, if you could, we have numbers, Martha. He's going to pull out 3 numbers, and
This would be hilarious. This is my number, so let's just see if it happens. Of course, we know everything's rigged these days, right?
Not on my watch, sir. Not on my watch.
Oh, it was too close to. All right, it was close. The numbers, I don't know if they're all the same, but 666, and then it's 2072. 072.
That's one.
Barney, you can take it home.
Barney, you're going to put that on your back?
No, the gentleman that just picked it up is going to bring it back.
Okay.
Congratulations, Tracy. And the good news about that is that Barney and Tracy live the second house on Park Street. So it's going to stop more water from running down and picking up stuff.
So again, they're all 666, and then it's 2044. 2044.
Really? Someone left?
2044. Oh. All right.
So this is Simone Wright, who does not live in Hen Cove. I think you still live in Rehoboth, is that?
No, I live in Westport, but I grew up in Onset.
Well, okay, so Simone is Cape Cod Conservation District representative who is responsible for getting partially responsible for getting the funds to build Tim Leiden's drains.
Yes, I managed that project.
I hope you have room in your car to go back to Westport with that rain barrel.
Oh, no way, really?
You can come back. We'll keep it for you.
It's okay, I just upgraded. I got an SUV, so we're good.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Simone.
Thank you. Oh, awesome. Congrats.
One more. Look at this.
Going from the bottom here. 666 2039.
Another person on Park Street who will stop water from running down Park Street.
She guarded.
Well done. Congressman, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Give our Congressman a send-off. Okay, so next on the program is our Select Board Vice Chair, Anne Marie Sarunian. She is Vice Chair of the Select Board, and pretty much if there's another committee in town, she is on it, or has been on it. So Anne Marie is an advocate for our water. So we wanted to talk a little bit about Title V and about some of our other water polluting issues. Thanks for coming, Anne Marie.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the invite, and thank you to the Coalition for your passion and for your impactful work that you've done for our community. I personally appreciate what you do, and I look forward to continuing the work and supporting your passion. Just for a brief moment, I want to ask you a question. So, just for a brief moment, because it's pretty scary, let's forget about all the regulations that we have to deal with. And I know I already know the answer to the question, given the audience, but we are a coastal community. We are not just houses, waterfront. We are a coastal community. The state sees us as a coastal community. We should all see ourselves as a coastal community. So I ask you this, what do you want the quality of that coastline, the quality of our coastal community to be for ourselves and for our children's, etc. in the future? And that's an important question that we all should be answering across the town in all of our villages. So now we do have regulations. How do we get there? How do we get to having this beautiful liquid asset and taking care of it? It's our responsibility. It's not just the people who live 50 feet from the water, or it's the people that live 50,000 feet from the water as well. So Title V regulations, I think it's important to note that Select Board and Sewer Commissioners have no authority over Title V regulations for the town of Bourne. You have elected a Board of Health for all things Title V. And I think there's a little bit of confusion because we did file a notice of intent for 2 watershed permits, Phineas Harbor and Mankansas-Squatigue, and in that process, we suspended some Title V regulations. It did not shift any authority to the Select Board. So anything and all things Title V fall under the governance of the Board of Health. It does not preclude any ability for the Board of Health to amend, adapt, revise regulations with respect to Title V in the town of Bourne. They are an agency to the state, and they act as that at the local level. Okay, so it's really important to note. The notice of intent for a watershed permit is a very lengthy process, and we're applying for 2. Think of it more along the lines if you're building a dream house. Okay, it's a permitting process. It's not just implementing a plan. So you have this beautiful waterfront property. You want to build your dream home. Where do you put it? We've got this beautiful piece of property. We have to resolve, right, this nitrogen-sensitive issue in our town. So what do we do? What's that process look like? Well, you got to figure out. You got to hire an engineer to tell you where you can put your house on this beautiful piece of property. So we've got to do some engineering to figure out, in the case if we're going to decide to sewer, where we're putting it. Where are we going to put this wastewater treatment plant? How are we going to do this? Right? So that's a permitting process. So we're going to need some engineers. We're also now, okay, they tell you can put it here. Great. Who's going to design it? Well, you hire a brilliant architect. I know a guy. And he's going to design your dream home. So now we need additional engineers who are going to design this wastewater treatment plant and how it's all going to resolve our nitrogen problem. Okay? So we get that all done. Great. We found our place. We've got this design. We think it's going to work. But now we start building it. We've got to do some testing. Oh, by the way, you're on a non-conforming lot. So now we've got to go through conservation. We've got to look at DEP. Maybe we have to do an environmental impact reporting. Okay? So this goes on and on. I just want you to understand, because we do have a draft comprehensive wastewater management plan that volunteers did, worked diligently for years and years and years. Right now, the state doesn't like it. They didn't approve it. So we did file a notice of intent for watershed permit, so it gives us a little more time. But it's not something where you can just take the plan and say, here you go. The state didn't like it in the first place. So this permitting process is very involved. We've got to make some changes. We've got to adapt. We've got to revise. And at the end of 5 years, hopefully, we apply for the permit and the state's approval. Now, I think also it's important to note, we asked for 5 years. When we did the notice of intent, we asked for 5 years to file this permitting application. We have to file two in very different permitting applications, okay? One sort of like the non-conforming lot, and the other lot is probably, okay, we don't have to do as much, but still have to apply for this permitting process. So 5 years is a long time, but 5 years is not a long time. So I think a lot of people think we have 20 years to solve this. We don't. We really only have 5 years to solve our nitrogen problem, because year one of that 20 year, we better be starting to do something. Because the state's coming down, and it's going to say, what are you doing? Are you working towards reducing the nitrogen in your town? And if we don't show good faith and we don't show effort, I'm telling you, the hammer's going to come down. And I know I'm speaking to the choir. So, 2 minutes? I missed the 2 minute mark. Sorry. Okay. I missed the 2 minute mark. Sorry. So yes. Just understand the process. Select board meetings. They're all posted. There's a wealth of information on our website, Town of Bourne website for information. I suggest you go there. And I also suggest you stay abreast of what's happening with the Board of Health. Question?
So I walk Pocasset every day.
Yes.
Often bike, whatever. But there are still, especially along the water, many of you may have seen it, but they're using, chemicals for their beautiful lawn, like Deanna was talking. Is there a packet that could be slipped under their door? So, and I'm not saying to embarrass them, but to embarrass them, to let them know the harm and the damage, especially them, because they're so close to the water. And I mean, there is a lot of people that are.
We have the packet.
Yeah.
We don't have a solicitation permit, so we can't do it yet.
Oh. Well,
Yeah, you would need to go through town processes to get a solicitation permit, and then,
I'm sure you've all
and then you also unfortunately have to be aware of people who don't, the list of people who don't want solicitation. There is such a list, and if you can't violate that as well. Just an FYI. Yes.
And Marie, can they be mailed to the homeowners?
Again, it's right. So that's part of the process of solicitation, and you're doing mail-outs. Again, there's still a list of people who you can't mail to or can't slide under a door.
Can it be inserted into their tax bill?
That's interesting. That's a question for probably not. Probably not.
It's a good idea, though.
Any other questions?
Tax bills. Everybody needs the education.
Yes.
Actually, perfect comment, a question that anybody might be able to have the answer to. First of all, thank you to the committees as well as the select board for the work you've done, but also the work that's ahead of you.
daughter-in-law.
As we're saying.
He's my daughter-in-law.
My question, well, first question, I guess I have two questions. The first question is, I understand with the, you're going through the permanent process for the identified areas now. And I believe through the committee that works to try to provide information to the select board, the suggestion of any additional identified areas, basically how to work with them in terms of considering doing a permit. Not just, okay, you got 5 years residents to do your own plan, your own septic system, but looking at the town putting together a permit like they have done for Scrutine and things. So I guess I would just ask, I know that hasn't been identified or decided upon yet, at least from the last meeting when I viewed it on TV. But I would just ask the select board to strongly consider not just the 2 areas now that have been identified, but there's going to be more in the future. And to have that part of your potential plan is, okay, any area that is identified moving forward, that yes, the town is going to look at a permitting process for that, potentially sewering being considered, not decided, but considered on that part. Because right now, yeah, you can only work on what's in front of you, the identified areas. But there's going to be more, and then this leads to my question. Does anyone know where things currently stand with the testing results for Henco?
So we don't have that data yet. You're asking about whether Hens Cove is going to have a TMDL, a nitrogen sensitive rating. We don't have that yet. We predict it might. But with respects to additional watershed permits, so that conversation is going to be, we have, as a select board, are going to have an agenda item which will revolve around the comprehensive wastewater management plan, where that information is, and some of the edits that are being suggested to be made with that plan. But that's not to say, so the difficult part here is to continue with that comprehensive wastewater management plan would be very costly, and we can only do what you said, like what's in front of us. And we do have a ticking clock with respects to the notice of intent for 2 watershed permits, so we do have to focus and get that in place so we can get the permitting. It's not to say that we're not paying attention to the rest of the town. But I will say that, you know, that's where your Board of Health comes in with respects to the regulations and how they impact the entire community for Title V, for septic, okay? You know, if you use Mashpee as a model, they have a very, very aggressive Title V regulations, regardless of the notice of intents that they've filed, and it's for the entire town. Falmouth has also, regardless of the notice of intent, has things for has additional amendments to their Title V regulations respects to new construction and increase in flow, especially in the nitrogen-sensitive areas. And they have gone a step further by saying that, because we share it with McGinnis Squatee, that they can only use the systems for best available nitrogen reducing that the state has certified. So there are means to pay attention to everything else. I will tell you that the select board will be focused right now because we have to on the notice of intent watersheds, but it's still on our radar. And it should be on the Board of Health's radar as well.
And if the area gets identified.
Right, so that's part, like I said, that decision hasn't been made yet. Those are edits that are forthcoming and a conversation that's forthcoming at a select board meeting. And I believe it's August 26th. It'll be on that agenda, possibly.
I thought at last year's meeting that it was mentioned that it was thought that maybe the results on this area would have been in this past May. Now.
Not yet. It's not yet.
It's into 2026.
Right.
On that. But I don't
You
know
do.
if that's correct. So that would be my question. If anybody has more detailed information about whether that's.
Okay, so the problem or the delay or the holdup is having a TMDL established for Red Brook Harbor. So Buzzards Bay Coalition has been working on it now for 3 years at least, maybe 4. This is a giant project. It's coordination. I know there, Rachel Jacubo, who spoke last year at our meeting, just came to give me the latest update. She couldn't stay. So there have been a number of delays. some of them bureaucratic, some of them just staffing. So what we said last year was we hoped that it would be ready by the middle of 2026. That's not an answer that we can say now. So there isn't an answer, Kevin, to answer your question, but we're on top of it. Buzzards Bay Coalition is working on it every day, and some of these issues are funding issues that, you know, we all have seen how currently anything to do with ecology is not on the top burner. So that's where we stand on that.
Any other question? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne Marie. That was fantastic. So our next speaker is patiently waiting. I kind of went out of turn with the speakers. So Marie Chayapo is, we call her the Cape Cod Garden Wizard. So she has written a book in conjunction with the Association to Preserve Cape Cod, which is, if you don't follow them or you're not on their website, you're missing out. That is the most aggressive source of information for anything to do with water, ponds, fertilizer. They're just fantastic. So Marie has written a book, which we have 10 copies. She's autographed them, and we're going to be giving them away after she speaks. So hang on, and you'll hear it in person, and then you can take it home and read about it. Marie, thank you.
Thank you for being here. I have to say, I live in Sagamore Beach. I haven't spent a lot of time on this side. I moved down here 4 years ago from Needham. This is fantastic. You folks are very blessed to have this. And as you know, as was mentioned, we basically live on sand. I'm an ecological landscape designer, and I work with nature to find solutions for everything, basically, that has to do with anyone's landscapes, the community, what have you. So I always tell people I'm a naturalist first, a gardener second, and a designer third. I must be aware of what nature's telling me at all times in order for me to make the most informed decision as to what belongs on somebody's property. I do create rain gardens. I do create bioswales. I do create gardens that, with native plants, feed the soil, maintain the integrity of the soil, and are beautiful, basically. I've been doing this for 28 years, and I'm very grateful that the native plant movement and the ecology movement, even though the people somewhere don't like that term, it is a part of our world. And it's something really important for all of us to think about. We have lost connection with nature. We have lost what it really means to be sustainable. And we're constantly hearing about this word sustainable, and I often ask people, what is sustainability? To me, it's something that's able to replenish itself. It's something that doesn't require inputs from the outside, like water, like fertilizer, like chemicals. So our gardens and the life that utilizes them relies on stability and balance and efficient use of energy. Unlike us, nature is very careful about not wasting energy. It can't go into a cabinet to get more food or to the gas station to refuel. For this reason and many others, it's important that we shift our expectations from what we want from our land to what we can do for it. The connection we have lost has resulted in the desire to control it and overpower it. I don't know about you, but I do not wish to spend my life challenging what is unchallengeable. Our use of chemicals and fertilizers immediately sets us up for failure, a lot of work and expense. So one of the biggest selling factors, if you will, that I have for what I do is telling people that I can create a property for you that is not only beautiful, that is going to have four-season interest, but in the long run, it's going to cost you a lot less money, and you're going to save a heck of a lot of time. Because I plant with layers. I plant with ground covers that are going to cover that soil that nature naturally wants to fill. And what it naturally fills it with are weeds. So I guess I would imagine most of you spend a lot of time weeding, or at this point in the summer, it's kind of like whatever, it's there. I'm not doing it now. But if we fill our properties with plants and roots that feed the soil and protect the soil, we don't have to have chemicals. We don't have to have fertilizers. And something that has become very, very clear to me, since I do a fair amount of teaching, is the lack of knowledge about soil. The element that is the foundation to a healthy garden, to a healthy landscape. We go about looking what we want to put in our landscapes, but we don't think about what the needs of that plant are and what that soil can do for our plants. So when our soil is covered with chemicals and fertilizers, there's no life in it. It's the life, those microorganisms, the fungi, the roots that decompose during the wintertime that feed that soil and maintain a healthy, vibrant landscape. Lawns and gardens, I have an alternative for you for lawns. I have a beautiful alternative for you. And I don't just go around saying, I'm not like the fuller brush man who goes from door to door saying, I can change your lawn. That's not how I do my business. But what I can tell you is you can have a lawn that feeds wildlife, that doesn't require chemicals, that doesn't require water, that only needs to be mowed once a season, and doesn't look messy. So I think a lot of the concern when I go to clients' houses, the first thing they say to me is, I don't have any native plants. Well, that's not what I'm there for. I'm not there to judge. I'm not there to find, issues on their property. I'm there to help. So the gardens that I create throughout Cape Cod don't look messy. The plants are placed in the right place, because even native plants need to be put in the right place. They can't just be thrown anywhere and expected to do well. They are beautiful. They are sustainable. And what I mean by that is the plants at my house, and I'm bragging because I'm trying to get a word across to you, I have not irrigated once on my property this summer. Because the plants that I have placed in the ground belong there. And I didn't plant them this year. If I had planted them this year, I would need to be watering them to establish those roots. But those roots are established, and flowers are blooming, and wildlife is going crazy on my yard. So the other thing I wanted to mention quickly, because I only have 2 minutes, is that I am working on the plastics issue. I'm the lead for the Alternative Materials Committee at the Horticultural Research Institute's Plastic Task Force. I did research 5 years ago on what happens with the plastic that we buy our plants in. 95 to 90% of it goes to landfills. It cannot be recycled, and I will not go into that right now. Why? What I can tell you is we're working hard to not only to feed our environment with healthy plants, but with healthy materials as well, that are truly going to biodegrade, that are truly going to, feed that soil, or that you can, without issue, throw into the trash, and it's not going to have any side effects at all. So I just want to give you that hope that at your garden centers, hopefully sooner than later, you're going to start seeing these new containers. You're going to start seeing these new materials. I'm working with growers and manufacturers across the country. And I'm also trying to create, as speaking to the senator, a local effort for how we can collect these. Because brought to the right place, which I know the name of and where it is, they can be recycled. And they can be made into new materials. The goal is to reduce the production of plastic. That's my ultimate goal. But we have to be realistic and attend to what we already have as well. So I'm an ecological, sustainable, crazy person, native person, that's what I do. But I just wanted to say thank you. And I do encourage you, if you do not end up getting it here, this book can be found at your local booksellers. I do not get money for this. This is a project that I did in concert with APCC. It really gives you a strong ecological sense of what you can do on your own properties so that they're beautiful and sustainable. Thank you.
So does anyone have a question for Marie while she's still up here? Any questions on gardening? You've answered them all.
You know them all.
Yeah.
The name of your book.
Oh, Guidelines for Cape-Friendly Landscapes. You're welcome.
Okay, so now we're getting to the end of the program. So Marie is going to pick out the numbers for, we have 10 books to give away. So grab your little tickets and we'll see how we can do with this.
Just do the last one.
2024.
No, it's 2025. 2024.
Yeah.
To the left?
Right back here?
Where? Over here.
No.
Norm Lacasse. Norm's rewarded for being a dedicated volunteer to building rain gardens.
Okay.
Thanks, Norm.
Okay. 2000.
Whoa.
Lucky number.
There you go.
Yay!
We can bring a book over to you, Joe, if that's okay. Yeah, let's get them.
You won something last year.
Wait, can you grab the books? I think they're...
Yeah, here's one more.
Yeah. Okay. That's 2. 8 to go.
Okay.
You got a ticket.
2081.
2081.
Going once. Going twice. Really?
Someone left.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I'll take the
Look what you're missing by leaving.
2080.
2080.
All right.
All right. Wow. Sorry about that.
2057.
2057.
Yay!
Ken, the bike path guy.
We're going to another year now. 2005.
MJ. MJ wins something every year, and it's not rigged.
2069.
2069.
Maybe it's me. I don't know. 2076.
2076. Oh, where are all these people?
Where'd they go?
That's all right. They don't deserve a book, so we're out of here.
2053.
There we go. We have a winner. All right. Thanks for staying.
I was going to say thanks for staying.
Okay. While we're working on that, I just want to remind everybody there are half a dozen handouts that are on the bench over here, and they cover something we didn't talk about, the Aqui Fund, which is how you get to help fund your new septic system through the county. We have the APCC, 2 things from the APCC, because we love them, and that is the Rain Garden Guide and a Cape Cod lawn. So those are, and those are things that are up. Plus, we have a white paper that we created, PWQC, on fertilizer, nitrogen, and how to pollute the water if you really want to with those little yellow signs. Marie?
2083.
Up. Another winner. Well done.
Oh. 2079.
2079. Bashful people.
2050.
2050.
Okay. You sure you gave out this many tickets?
Yeah, you bought them.
2013.
2013. Also not here? Wow. It's kind of embarrassing.
2002.
2002 was a great year. Ah, Anne Marie. Excellent. So we are bribing the select board. We have one more member left to give a book to.
We have 3 left.
Oh boy. Okay. 1999.
Ooh.
We're going back into the 1990s.
Nobody?
Wow. Okay.
1996.
Hooray, Frank. All right, we're recording Frank. Excellent job. Frank deserved a reward. Good job, Frank.
2071.
2071. Next.
2046.
2046. Hey, excellent. All right, we have one more book left, so
Okay.
hold on to your hats.
2014.
2014. We'll keep doing it till we get Jeannie one.
2012.
There you go, in the back.
Hey, Dan Barnett, another guy who would love a book. Hey, awesome. So I just want to remind everybody about these here. I want to remind you a couple of other things. We put a lot of information on our website, www.pocassetwaterquality.org. And anything that you need from today's meeting, we will have a video from our friend Dan at Born TV. We'll post that as soon as that's available. And we thank everyone so much for coming. It's fun to have everyone here. We love our supporters, and we love the fact that we can keep doing this. So if you want to volunteer, Paula has volunteer for Rain Gardens 2 and 3. Good morning, sir.